Oh, can I tell you a car story? I'll tell you a car story. Okay, I'll tell you a car story. All right, here's one. Oh, man. I'll never forget this day. Oh, gosh, this day. Oh, this day. Oh, my God, a car story. Oh, no. Um, okay. For a very short period of time, I was in the car business. I had sold cars for a short period of time as a new car salesman on the floor of a car dealer for a Dodge Chrysler dealership. And then I got a job, which I had always wanted. If I was ever going to be in the car business, I actually wanted to be a guy that could lease you a car, a lease specialist. But I didn't want to be tied down to a dealership. I wanted to be able to be an all makes lease specialist. So whatever brand you wanted, whatever truck you wanted, whatever car you wanted, I could lease it to you. And I got my chance when I joined a firm in Calgary. It was a Lexus dealership that had a Toyota department, a Lexus department, and they had an all makes leasing department as well. So I joined, there was an opening and I applied, and they took me on because I was from a dealership where I had been writing lease deals like crazy on the floor of a new car dealership. I'd writing all kinds of lease deals over there, but just for new and used cars. So now I got to join these guys. So I moved over, joined them. And there were only 3 of us in the department. There was the owner of the company, but then there was the manager of the lease department, salesman, and me, another salesman. So there were 3 of us leasing cars. And my manager, who had been in the car business for decades, super guy, really one of the best guys I ever worked with in all my life in any profession. Straight up shooter. It was so great to deal with him. Could not tell a lie. Could not and would not tell a lie. Hard worker, honest as the day is long in the car business. Super good guy. And I enjoyed working with this gentleman. Really enjoyed it. And what happened was he would write from time to time, he would write what we call fleet deals. And we had a customer with our lease department and that he had put together years before I got there. He had a car rental company. It was a mom and pop car rental firm in Calgary. And they had leased a bunch of cars through the dealership that we had. And they had some Fords and Chevys and Plymouths and other brands over the years. And what they would do is they would go to the auction houses and they would buy cars up that would be like a year old, 6 months old. And then they would grab the car and would come to the dealership and would add that car to their fleet, a leasing deal to be added to the fleet. And so they were building up their inventory of cars to rent on a daily basis. Daily rental, weekly rental, what have you. But they weren't brand new cars. They were 3 month, 6 month, 1 year old type cars. But it worked out because they were a mom and pop dealership, and you could go to Hertz and rent a new car for $45 a day, or you could go to these guys and rent a slightly used car for $35 a day. And if you needed a car for 5 days, you'd save $50. And so they had a business going. Okay. Well, unfortunately, they ran into money problems, and their business got shut down. So we got a phone call. The dealership got a phone call from someone saying these guys are in trouble. They won't be able to make payments on their cars anymore. And so we had to go and repatriate the cars. We had to go get them. And unfortunately, the reality was there were only 3 of us in the leasing department. And this had nothing to do with me and my business that I was doing. I didn't lease these guys any cars. But as an employee of the leasing department, I was called into duty to go and help retrieve these cars. So what we did was our manager in the lease department, he had to go and get 100 cars. We had to pick up 100 cars from the lot of this car rental agency. And wouldn't you know it, the day that we had to do this, we had a blizzard. We had a mighty blizzard. And I had no idea in the morning when I came to work. I'm in my suit tie, jacket tie, and I'm wearing leather shoes. I parked about a half a block away from the dealership, and I walked across the parking lot, and the snow was coming down. It was going to be a bad day, but I scurried into the office, and within an hour of getting there, we all found out that the hammer had fallen, and we've got to go and get these cars. So the dealership rounded up a bunch of employees, admin people, new car salesmen, the leasing guys, a couple of mechanics, and anyone else we could get our hands on. And my boss grabbed one of the vans, a used van, and we all piled. There's like 8 of us piling into this van, and then another van was picked up with another 6-8 guys, and we drove down to this rental car place, and it was cold and windy, and I'm wearing an executive coat over top of my suit, and I've got leather shoes on, and I've got a suit pants that are thin, and the wind is howling. It's 25 below zero. The wind is coming across the road like a whiteout, and we're going to this parking lot in a small and light industrial part of town to go and get cars. Oh my gosh, we have no idea what we're going to drive back. And it had been minus 20 overnight. It was cold. And all these cars are sitting there, and they're all covered in snow. And we're all told, come on into the warehouse here, and we'll give you a set of keys to a car. You go out to the car, open the trunk. There should be a snow brush. You could brush off the car, try to start the car, get the heater going, and you can drive the car back to the dealership, and we would then do it all again. And we ended up, the manager ended up renting very quickly a parking lot near our dealership where we could put these things, because he wanted to get them in our possession as quickly as possible, because these were our assets. The dealership that I worked for owned these cars, had leased or rented these cars to this guy, and now we were taking back our ownership of the vehicle. So I get a set of keys, and I'm going, what kind of car is this? I don't recognize the keys. I don't recognize there's a logo on the key that I don't understand. And my manager says, oh, it's that white one over there. I walk out there. I'm walking in 2 feet of snow, and when you walk in 2 feet of freshly powdered snow, you use your feet as a stomper to stomp the snow down. I am stomping my feet through this parking lot to get to this white car that is covered in 2 feet of snow. I can't see the brand name on it, and I open the trunk somehow. I get my gloves on. I wipe it up, try to get this trunk open. I pull out this brush, and I start brushing off the car, and I see the logo on the trunk of the car. It's a Lada. It's a Lada. Made in the Ukraine. Oh, no, I got to drive a Lada about 15 miles across town in a blizzard. I'm not even sure if this thing will start. I'm praying to God it won't start. Please don't start. Please don't start. If it won't start, I don't have to drive this car. I can go back and get another set of keys to something else. Please don't start. It's a 3-cylinder car. 3-cylinder car. I get into this thing, and I pull the choke on it. And I have to pull the choke on it. I remember from my Volkswagen days how to do that. I'm sitting in there, and I'm going, ee, and I'm pulling the choke, and I'm putting the gas down. And it starts to turn over. I'm going, no, it's starting. No, I don't want it to start. It starts revving up. I'm going, oh God, no, I got to drive this car. Oh geez. And it's revving up, and I put the heat up all the way on defrost and everything. And I get out of the car, and I keep taking all the snow off of the damn thing. And I'm thinking, there's no way I'm getting out of the parking lot. It's 2 feet of snow. I won't be able to get out. I'm still saved. I won't be able to get out. But no, there's a plow going up and down the parking lot. My boss hired a guy with a plow, and he's plowing out the way, so that all I had to do is move 3 feet, and I'm in the clear. Dang it. Anyway, I clear this thing off, and the engine's going on the outside. It sounds so terrible. Oh my God, I get inside this car and it's all frosted up, just like an old Volkswagen Beetle used to frost up on the inside. I can't see on the side. I can't see forward. I can't see behind me. I'm using the snow scraper inside the car to scrape the car so I can look out. And I can't get the wipers to work because they're frozen onto the windshield. I go outside and I'm hacking at these damn wipers, getting this stupid car going, oh, I hate my life. And I'm not being paid for this. I'm not being paid for this. I get a salary to be a leasing guy. I get money to lease vehicles. But I don't complain. I love my boss. I'll do whatever he says. And I'm earning brownie points. And he's telling me, you are earning brownie points today. So just do what I ask you to do. You will be rewarded for your efforts. I'm going, I believe this guy. He never lies to me. But I'm thinking here inside this car, oh, that bastard. Oh, I'm going to get him. But good. But anyway, finally get the wipers going. I'm scraping the inside of the car. I'm cranking the window down 1/2 inch to let fresh air through. And it's 25 below. It's terrible. Oh, my God. And the car won't die. Put it into gear, and it moves. It moves. No, it's moving. Oh, God, no. I'm driving this car out of the parking lot at 1 mile an hour, 2 miles an hour, and it's a little automatic Lada from the Ukraine. You can buy these things brand new, loaded? No, not loaded. Brand new off the dealer for like $10,000 in, what year was this? 1995 or something. Oh, my God. It had 7,000 kilometers on it, and it had a hole in the ceiling. It was a piece of the roof had split from it. Oh, it was a piece of crap. There were all kinds of problems with the car, all kinds, and it was not even a year old. Oh my God! No wonder these guys went under. You couldn't rent this car to anybody for anything. How they even bothered renting a Lada? Why would anyone want to rent a Lada? I mean, what, $5 a day? I don't get it. Oh, I'm driving this thing, and damned if I couldn't drive this car all the way back up to the northeast part of Calgary in the middle of a blizzard, because it's built in the Ukraine where they have blizzards. It's near Russia, very close to Russia. This car is just banging along. I could not believe it. So we get to this parking lot that my boss had rented, because we were in like a line of vehicles behind the van to get to this next place. We get to the parking lot, and he's pointing to me. He said, over there, park it over there. And I'm going, oh, gosh, I got to park it in the front of the parking lot. This parking lot isn't plowed either. It's got a foot of snow on it. Oh, but this thing drives. I drive it right to the spot, stop it, turn it off, do up the windows, lock it by hand. I had to lock it and then use the key to lock it. Remember that? Oh my gosh. And now I am plotting with my leather shoes. I'm walking through a foot of snow back to the van, and my manager is sitting there in the driver's seat with his hand on the steering wheel watching me come in. And he's going, you done good. You done good. We got to go back and get another one. I'm going, oh no. All day long. We had to do 5 trips all day long to go back to this parking lot and bring out 8 to 10 to 12 cars at a time between these 2 vans with these employees. But as the day went on, the body count went down. Soon there were only 3 or 4 guys driving vehicles anymore, with only 1 van load at a time. There were just a few of us left, and all day long I drove every conceivable kind of car back to this parking lot, and I even drove a Ford Mustang rear wheel drive with summer tires in the middle of a blazing blizzard. Oh no. And it was fishtailing, and oh my gosh. The car story. Well, all right. So we survived. My feet were freezing cold. My toes were cold. We finally got a break for lunch, and my boss bought us lunch, in the lunchroom. I'm paying, don't worry, I'm bringing in pizza, whatever it was. And we finished the job. And then fast forward about a week later, and I found out all the details about this whole gory mess. and that he was already blowing off cars to other dealers, selling cars off to used car dealers. He had used car guys come to the lot, and they would make him an offer for that car and that car, and he'd look at his books and go, yeah, we'll take that deal. Yeah, we'll take that deal. Give me $100 more and you got that car. Deal done, gone. And he's blowing off cars, getting checks to offload this, overhead. And over 2 weeks, he got rid of all of them. I even had to drive a Lada from that lot to a dealership to get repaired under warranty, and it got repaired under warranty. We got these Ladas all fixed up, and then he blew them off for $6,500 a piece and got our money back. This guy was a genius. He was a real pro. But I'll tell you. So about 2 weeks later, he calls me into his office. He says, hey, Bruce, got to talk to you for a minute. I want to talk to you about something. Yeah, sure. Sit down. He says, you remember a couple of weeks ago, we had to go retrieve some cars? I said, remember? The scars are in my brain. I'll never forget. He says, well, you remember I told you that I would make it worth your while? I said, oh, yeah, I do remember that. You promised that you were going to make it worth your while. He says, well, I got something for you. I said, oh, okay, what do we got? He said, well, got an oil and gas company that we deal with, and the president of the company, the vice president of the company, and another vice president of the company, these guys are each getting their own company vehicles. And each of these guys, and the one guy in particular that I'm going to have you look after, he is getting himself a brand new 3/4 ton pickup with a cap back on top of the truck, and the towing package and the high-end tire package. And this thing cost $80,000 in 1995. Every imaginable bell and whistle available from General Motors was added to this thing. It was just a luxury truck of some kind. It was just insanity. Extended cab, and I mean everything, leather, power, everything. And the deal was so rich. The lease offer, they ended up leasing this truck for the executive through their company, and money was not an object, obviously. And the markup on this truck, on this lease deal, paid me $3,000. That was my commission on this truck for this guy to drive for 3 years. It was ridiculous. And I thought I wouldn't want to be a shareholder of this guy's company because these guys are blowing money on perks, but nonetheless. So he said to me, here's what I need you to do. I got a check here for $80,000. I want you to drive the check down to the Chevy dealer where this truck is. I want you to take a cab, go down there, and deliver the check to the fleet manager. He's expecting you. Sign the contract for delivery. You'll walk around the truck, make sure it's all fine. It should be fine. And he'll hand you the keys. I want you to drive the truck here to the dealership because the president of the company is coming here later today to pick up his truck. And for that, you're going to make $3,000. I'm going, have I got a minute to yeah, I'll do that. So down to the dealership by a cab, which the dealership paid for. I didn't have to pay for the cab, right? Picked up this beautiful truck, drove it back up to the Northeast, dropped it off, handed the keys to the boss. He said, there you go. That's your deal. Because he could not write a lease deal for himself. He had to write a lease deal for his salesman. And it was my turn on this one. And he said, this one is for you. You remember that day you were jumping through 2 feet of snow in your leather shoes and you were swearing the world against me? No, I never did that. Oh, yes, you did. I said, this is your payoff. And he paid me back big time to drive Ladas through blizzards for an entire day. Unbelievable. I think I drove 3 Ladas that day, plus a number of other vehicles. You never forget the scarring for something like that. There's a car story for you. There's your car story of the day.